All right, now here's an introduction to setting up your booth. So first thing I did was I took out all the pieces that were part of the case. As you can see, these are all the pieces that we have. Now I laid them out in an easier way to assemble it so that you can see what piece goes where, but I'll go through and explain exactly what pieces are where. So all these pieces are all of your booth is made up of more or less the same piece, one of these square tubes. There is one that is a little bit smaller, which I'll get to later on. The easiest way to decipher as to where each piece of square tube goes is to look at either the attachments to it or the little plastic inserts that are in it. So if you get a little bit closer, you can see that this is the bottom round. Now there are two of them because you can see that in these square tubes there are 4 different channels. One of the channels should have a plastic insert. That is where the graphic slides into. So you can see it all the way down. You can see how it's a little bit different from with nothing in the insert as compared to something with an insert in it. Here's a view from the top so you can see what that insert looks like right here. The middle channel bar will have the same plastic insert that's on the bottom, except this one will have plastic insert on two of the 4 sides. So one being here and one being here. That's where the graphic is going to slide into. So there are 2 of those same pieces. 2 plastic inserts on either side. The top crossbar has one insert, but it has grippers on top which will hold your sign, the top sign there. So you have 2 of those. As you can see, they have 3 grippers on one and 2 on the other. So that will leave you with 4 other bars, and you can see which one is left and which one's right. Now, like I said earlier, there's one piece that's shorter than the others. That piece will, if you're facing the booth, will be on the right-hand side. As you can see here, this is the shorter piece I was talking about. Now that you've laid out all the pieces and have an idea as to where they're going to go, we're going to construct the booth. So setting up this booth, we're going to set up the first post going into the base plate. This whole system is used using one tool, which is this. It's a 5/32 wrench. And all the pieces will be tightened and loosened on these nuts here. So the important part when setting up the post first is you want to have these pins, which are for the middle supports, are facing the inside of the booth. So one thing you need to do is you need to loosen up the screw that's on the back here, and eventually if you loosen it up enough you'll feel it fall down into place. Once it's there, you just tighten the screw. Got a pretty solid base. So from there we just same thing. Take the next piece, insert it in here, tighten up the screw, and there's our first post. We'll continue with the rest of it. So we have our 2 side pieces that are constructed now. So the next thing we're going to do is construct the middle supports. Do the same thing that we did with the side pieces and connecting them together. And make sure when you're doing the middle supports, because you have those plastic inserts to hold the graphic, that those are lined up. So you can see here I've got it on the same, I've got it on here. So as you can see, some of these have what they look like, blue knobs here. This is what connects the middle piece to this to the side piece here. So more or less what's going to happen is this piece here is going to go in like that. Before we do that though, let me explain how this tightens up. This piece is more or less held in by using the same wrench. If you turn it half a turn clockwise, it will tighten up and it won't move up and down. If you need to loosen it and move it up and down, turn it a little bit to the left counterclockwise, you can slide it up and down. This will move, and if I tighten it back up like I did, I won't be able to move this piece. This piece, which is on the end of some of these square tubes, this is what goes on the end of the square tube so that it fits flush against this sidebar. So the best way to do it, you can see on this, there's a little additional piece here that sticks out a little bit from the plastic. That actually slides right into the channel of these square tubes. So what I need to do, line it up, put it in there just like so. After that, I can just tighten it, and that piece isn't going to go anywhere. And here we're going to do the same thing that we did the other side. Line up to make sure that this will fit in the channel. Good there. And then we'll tighten this side so it doesn't move. Okay. Now this is probably easier with two people. You can do it with one. Might be easier though to have one person hold the opposite end while you're screwing in this end. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to give it a little push it this way. As you can see, some of it starts to move around. That's the best move to do. Now, when those blue pins are in the side, they can move a little bit if you haven't tightened up anything yet and you give it a little bit of hit with your hand. Make sure it's about level. Once I'm pretty confident as to where I want it, I'll just tighten up the screw here on the back of each side. Good there. So this is what the completed frame looks like when it's all assembled together. Now one thing that Matt did is he wrote on the back side of these frames, just for sake of convenience, B with B. You can see one over here, C with C. So if as long as you match up the letters, those should be the correct pieces. Now also, we made a mark as to where the middle channel bar should line up to, as well as the bottom and the top. So you can see where this is where it's got to fit between these lines, and this one, the bottom line, goes to the bottom of this. It's almost flush to the top, but if you put it right there, that should be fine. All right, so now we're going to install the graphic. In this situation, you can do it with one person. It makes it easier if you have two, but for the sake of this video, we'll just use me. So when you're looking at your graphic, you'll have a little plastic strip on the top. You want to fold this towards you, and this part right here is going to slip up into that plastic insert that's in the pole. So here's your top graphic. Next thing we're going to do is going to do the same thing for the bottom graphic. Start from the top, fold the plastic part in, slide it into the insert, and fold it back towards you. You should feel. All right, and the last piece we got to put up is the top sign that are held on by the grippers here. We still use the same tool to install this. Don't break my neck. Slide the graphic into the grippers. This might fit me because I got to loosen it a little bit. So slide in just like that. Sneak around to the opposite side so I can tighten them. Now we tighten these grippers using the same tool we've been using the whole time. So putting up the light fixture, or the base for the light, looks like this. It's got little teeth in here. This part is going to sit right in this space in the bar here. So if you look on the other side too, this is the way that you tighten it. There's a screw underneath it. So you line up those teeth to fit right in there. And this little tab, then you just tighten this tab and you actually see the bottom tightening connection piece move up and tighten itself against the frame. So this way now it's solid in there. Last thing we do is we're going to put in a light. On the top of those things, you can see the little nub that you have to put. This is the nub for the light. It goes into this little flap hole right there. All we do, put our light in and push it back until we hear a click from the flap of the plastic fixture. Plug in the lights, and there's your booth.